Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be how does she act with male orbiters when her interest is low? Well, this is where character is destiny. If you're with a good family-oriented woman who was raised right, raised by a father who knew what he was doing, who was the man of the house, he was masculine, he taught her how and who and which men to trust, raised her right, she typically will be easygoing, easy to get along with, and a woman that loves and respects and admires and looks up to her father is what you're looking for. And so if she's raised in that kind of environment and her interest is low, like in this case, this guy kind of slacked off. He's with his girlfriend for about 4 years, and then he got really sick about a year ago, and then she took care of him, and her family's like, get rid of the bum. So she stuck with him, but after he kind of got healthy, he just like wasn't interested in sex. He just the dude was totally checked out. But he got back into the book, quickly fixed things, turned it around, and she had been contacted by a male orbiter of hers. I think it was an ex-friends with benefits or something like that. And so all she did was he responded to a couple of her posts. She hearted them, and he said something to her one time, and all she did was say thank you. Which that's what you want to see from a girl who's loyal. I mean, she's being polite, but a girl who comes from a broken home is going to be flirting with him, talking about meeting up, sending him nudes and other things, and just dangling the carrot, enticing him to keep pursuing her. She may meet him out for drinks or whatever, that kind of thing. And so when you go through a difficult time like this poor guy has, you find out really what you're dealing with, because again, character is destiny. And based on what he shared and her responses, it looks like he's got a pretty decent, honest woman. All she did was acknowledge this guy, sent her messages. She didn't give him the green light. She didn't try to participate in a conversation. She seemed to stay loyal and faithful to her man, unlike girls that come from broken homes who are giving out their number constantly, hanging out, going for drinks, flirting with the guy openly, even though they're supposedly have a boyfriend. And so we didn't see any of that in this particular case. So it's a good email to go through because, again, when you go through a difficult time, that's when you realize what the character is of the woman that you're with. If you're with a woman that comes from a broken home and she's head over heels in love with you, she'll probably be loyal and faithful. But when you slip up, or like in this case, you go through a bad time with some severe health challenges, the girl from the broken home ain't going to be loyal because she's not happy. So she'll just go get her needs met elsewhere and not feel bad about it at all. So let's go through his email. He says, greetings, Coach. I've been a listener of your podcast for a few years and read your book, 3% Man, numerous times. It's helped me a ton. I've been in my current relationship for 4 years now. We met at the mall, got her number, went on our first date a week later, light chat over some drinks, some food once I knew I liked her, and we hung out after the date in our car for hours. She did 90% of the talking, went home after, no first date sex, but I did kiss her. Fast forward a few months and things were amazing. We were doing everything together. The sex was amazing. She was super submissive and wanted to jump my bones every chance she got. Eventually she asked me what we were, and I told her playfully, "Are you asking me to be your man?" And she said, "Yeah." So we became official. So again, it just flows so easily and effortlessly because he knew the book. He knew exactly how to say those things. Guys that haven't really taken the time to read the book or thumb through it, a woman might suggest or hint, and they just act like a zombie and they don't say anything, they don't bring it up. But this guy knew exactly what that meant, and boom, he handled it like a pro. So good job, dude. That's what happens when you read the book. When you read the book and you take it seriously and you learn the information, when these moments happen in your relationship, to her it just seems like something out of a movie. I remember at the start of the relationship, first 2 months of dating, we were at Disneyland and she was texting a guy friend while on the date with me. I simply told her to cut it out. I don't do guy friends, and she complied. So, in other words, he saw some behavior he didn't like. He set a healthy boundary, and the most important thing is she respected it. That's the difference. She respects your boundaries. She respects your authority. Usually she'll do that if she admires and looks up to and respects her father. If she hates her father, doesn't have a relationship with him, she ain't going to give a fuck what you tell. You ain't going to care about your boundaries. She'll walk all over it. Fast forward a year, and I got really sick. I was down 9 months. When I was sick, I thought she would leave me, and her family certainly told her to. That fucking sucks. How are the family holidays now? Everybody wanted her to dump you, and she's stuck by her man. But instead, she helped me get better and stuck around because her interest was high. And she sounds like a good woman, not a fucking ratchet. After I got better, I was on medication, and my sex drive was super low. Hey! So I neglected her another year. Only had sex once the whole year. Didn't sleep in the same bed. Almost ignored her. No dates, etc. Damn, dude. Now I can see why. If she's going back to her family going, yeah, we haven't had sex in the whole year. We don't even sleep in the same bed. He just totally ignores me. I can understand why them going, yeah, he's a bum. You took care of that guy and he's just not doing anything. I'm surprised that you were able to pull that off for a year. Most of the time you get about 6 months of flailing around and not taking care of yourself before a woman taps out. But sounds like you got a good woman, because most women are not going to stick around for a year of that shit. You're not laying the pipe. You're not dating her. You're just kind of neglecting and ignoring her. That's surprising that she stuck by you all that time. Because most women, unfortunately, will not. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, I noticed she was a little distant. I took her on a 4-year anniversary and even got us a hotel together. Well, she turned down sex with the excuse that she was gassy. I got a little flatulence I ain't gonna let out. I don't want to fart and Dutch oven you, honey. It was a big blow to my self-esteem, but a wake-up call as well. Yeah, so he's like, thinks he's got it made. She doesn't even want it when he's finally ready to lay the pipe. And he's like, uh-oh. I realized what I was doing wrong after reading the book again. This is why good students, they go through the book twice a year, or every 6 months, just to keep it fresh. Because it had been obviously a while since the guy had gone through the book. I mean, to be in a relationship and after all that you went through and not even having sex for a year or dating her, you just, again, that is really surprising that she stuck around, because most women will not. Because you're going to make her feel like you don't give a damn about her. So again, like I said earlier, it's why it makes sense why the family's like, dump that bum. I shifted my frame back into masculinity and made myself less available. She responded well and started leaning in and wanting to be closer again. We've gone on a few dates and the sex is back and better than ever. When I tell you the sex is great, last night we had the most passionate, dirty indoor Olympics I've ever had. Well, naughty. You naughty boy. I've never been more into her and her into me. It was so easy that I literally came home, sat next to her. She started cuddling me, talked for a few minutes, and then I said, want to go upstairs and fool around? Her face lit up with a giant smile and almost squealed. She said yes immediately. These are the results you get when you apply what's in the book. So, because he had got back to the basics, dating and courting her, making her feel heard and understood, opening her up, taking the time to talk. The legs are open like the 7-Eleven. So that's all it takes. Most guys would be like, what? That's all you got to say? You want to go upstairs and fool around? She's like, yeah. That's what happens. When you treat a girl right, the legs are always open like the 7-Eleven. As a matter of fact, the legs are open like 7-Eleven, and the 7-Eleven gets upset if you're not laying the pipe at least 2-3 times a week. So if you apply what's in the book, that's going to be your biggest problem, is your girl wanting to have sex when you're not feeling up to it or not like you want to. You got to lay the pipe, dude. You got to perform. You got to beat up her pelvis. You got to give her lots of happy finishes. However, during the time, I wasn't sure how she felt for me. I went into her Instagram and discovered some messages from a guy she used to have as a friends with benefits. She wasn't following him, but she allowed him to follow her. The messages weren't explicit or even flirty. He just reacted to 3 of her stories with a fire emoji. The first was a picture of her hand holding coffee. The other 2 were haircut pictures. She's a barber. I would think you'd call her a hairstylist. Don't call me a barber. Barbers are men. She replied to him by liking the reactions and once typed up thank you. The messages weren't deleted, and she never once had been secretive with her phone. I've always had access to it. I calmly asked her about him, and she said, yeah, he's the guy who didn't commit to me before you, so I cut him off. Then I asked her if they still followed each other, and she said she doesn't, but wasn't sure if he was still following her since her profile used to be public. So, in other words, she checked out, she unfollowed him, he was still following her, which is what you would expect to see with a woman who is being loyal. And the fact all she did was heart the messages. When you heart a message, that's the end of the conversation. You're acknowledging, and that's it. And she said thank you. She didn't say thank you, how you been? I've been thinking about you, I missed you, or anything like that. And a lot of the other emails that I get from women that have low character. A woman with high character, she's not going to be following those guys. She's not going to be messaging them. She's not going to be baiting them. She's not going to be trying to get them to pursue her. She's going to do nothing because she's with her man, because she's loyal. That's what a loyal woman would do. She immediately went and checked and said, yeah, he still is, and removed him without me asking her to. So she probably blocked him and then unblocked him, which, it basically unfollows him. Or it unfollows his account from following her. And the fact she did it unprompted, she's like, I don't want this guy following me, basically. So that's a good thing. He didn't have to ask her to do that. She just did it because she knew it was the right thing to do. Then I asked when the last time was she talked to him, and she said, not since before you, but he had replied to a haircut post with a fire emoji. God, I don't know how long ago, her words. So I said, yeah, back in 2024. I said, why are you even letting him follow you and replying to him? She said it was just a fire emoji to a haircut. But later she said, yeah, I was wrong. She should have removed a long time ago. Then she blocked him. Since then, she's shown remorse numerous times, has said it was very wrong and that it's like leaving a door cracked. I calmly told her my boundaries, no male orbiters, no getting friendly with guys, just ignore them unless they're bringing you money for a haircut. She's never shown any signs of secretiveness, always comes straight home after work, shares her location with me, and even gives me her full earnings for the day after work. So I assume they're living together. Do you think this was more of a one-time slip because of my neglect? She was starving for attention and validation, or is this something devious? Like, why would she allow the friends with benefits to follow for 4 years while being in a committed relationship with me? Well, I would assume, just based on her reaction, is like at some point she unfollowed him, and to her it was out of sight, out of mind. It wasn't a big deal. But the fact she blocked him, like I said, everything that I've seen in here, it looks like she's honoring the boundaries. And she wasn't carrying on conversations. Again, I've done countless emails over the years where it's the exact opposite. Girls texting the guys, she's sending them nudes or enticing, oh, look at me in my new dress, that kind of thing. Oh, here's me at the beach in a bikini. She's not doing any of that. She just completely had shut it down. So, as Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify, but based, like I said, I'm really surprised that your girl stuck by your side when you just completely neglected her for a year and had no interest in sex. And it's like, I'm stunned that you got away with that. Because, again, most women would have left your ass. So, at least you got things turned around, so good on you for that. And like I said, based on everything you shared, it looks like you got a good woman. I don't know so much about the family, but then again, maybe her family's reaction was the fact that you were neglecting her completely for a whole year. And yet she stuck around, dude. She stuck by your side, it's pretty good. It's very rare. Women like that are very rare. Other men in general that are good and loyal and honorable dudes that are good to have as friends are very rare. People who are good to you, good for your soul, almost never come along. And when you do have one that's good, you should probably keep them around as long as they treat you right. So if you got a question or challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the coaching tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our exclusive premium members-only content, in the video description of this video, there are links to join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify or our website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the plans tab when you get to the website. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial to check out what content you get for your money. And if you choose an annual plan, you can get a 25% discount at the end of the 7-day free trial. So go to understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab, sign up for a free trial today. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon.